Hi, my hi, I'm Evelyn, and welcome to my show. As you can tell, I bet I'm in a new location in my same house. I'm hoping this will going to work better. And on with our show. I've This is my fourth episode, and I am really enjoying it. And I'm hopefully learning a little bit more about how to do this sort of thing. So bear with me. We're still learning, although we're making progress. Today, I have a couple of topics I'm going to talk about. The first one is ODSP. Now, for those who do not know what that is, that stands for Ontario Disability Support Program. It's for those people who, for various reasons, are unable to work. So they have to rely on social assistance to live. Now, some people, while they're disabled, can still work a few hours, and that's terrific if they can do that. Not everybody can. Unfortunately, I'm one of the ones who can't, which makes things a little bit tighter. Now, I've been on it for about, I'm aging myself, I think about 14, 15 years now at this point. And I really do appreciate the support I've gotten from it. It has made me relax a little bit more, knowing that I really don't have to work because of this. And I can spend my time basically keeping myself in a better state of mind, you might say. I deal with this with depression, and it's not easy. Um, some days I can look like there's nothing wrong with me, but unfortunately, don't people don't know what's going on in my head, and that's the sad part. If I get overwhelmed or whatever, what happens with me is I suddenly cannot sleep. And I have been known to go for days practically with very little sleep. And then suddenly I will have my day where I can finally catch up my sleep. And when I was working, I'd have to, miss a day of work because, well, I just couldn't function anymore. I had to stay home and sleep. And you can't keep a job that way. You just can't. And I've always wanted to be able to do something that I could do at home, but have never really been able to figure what that could be. Right now, with the COVID situation, it might make things a bit easier, but at this point, I'm 58 years old. No one's going to hire me at 58 when I've had hardly ever experience in the past. Because when I wasn't on Ontario Works, I was on OW, which was even worse. So, but let's talk about this now. ODSP pays for your rent, utilities, and your basic needs. But we live in a world where our rent, even for the smallest place, is at least $900, if not more than $1,000. I have seen bachelors go for about $1,000. This is insane. We only get for a single person, hang on to your hat here, $495 for rent and utilities. That's it. The rest has to come out of basic needs. So you're saying, okay, fine. Well, how much do you get there? All total, I might get $1,255, and that's with an extra bit of help for my diet and my health concerns there. So, needless to say, you don't get enough money. And you wonder why so many people are living on the streets, are in homes that are deplorable, and are going to the food bank because that's the only way they can survive. The only way I can survive is because my son and I, who is also on ODSP, we both live here together. We pay everything in half. That is the only way we can survive. And even with that, the two of us combined have now reached the point where we're now over the limit of how much we can get for our rent. That means from here on in, any extra rent cuts into my basic needs. So I'm still okay for a little while, but not for much longer. And that is sad. And I would like to, I really don't want to move from this location because I like this location. It's close to everything, it's very handy, but who's to say? Someday I might have to. But the problem is, you try to find a place that's decent that can take my scooter anymore with a rent, with a decent rent, and you just can't do that. And I've been on the Guaranteed Income waiting list for a good 10 years, and so far nothing. And I'm not surprised because, like I say, most of the new places that are built for Guaranteed Income or for single people or for people who are over 65 or 55, I live with my son, so that won't work. He has to stay with me. Even if I didn't, where would he go? He wouldn't have enough money to get rent on his own, so he's stuck with me. And I rather like it that way, you know. But however, that's the given. What they need to do, and I've done a lot of talk with this lately, is that we need to establish a way to increase the ODSP. We haven't had a really decent income increase in quite some time. Quite a few years ago, when we were under with Harris, was our premier, he took 22% of our income away from us, and we've never been able to gain any of that back. When you only get maybe 1 or 2% increase each year, and the cost of living is higher than that, or your rent goes up from more than that, it doesn't take long, especially with today's prices for food and everything else. Now, that given, I have no idea how anybody can say, well, you could be grateful what you get. I am very grateful for what I get, but I'd be a whole lot more grateful if they could be realistic with this. There's no way they can turn around and tell me I can get a place for $495. They just can't do it. You can't even get a room for that price anymore, practically. And then expect us to live. We can't. You just can't. So they really need to upgrade this. Now, there's been also been a lot of talk lately about this basic income theory. I like how they're talking about this. I think it would work. It has proven that it has not made people want to stay home and whatever. Because if I had the opportunity to get a skill that I could do at home or work on my studies, I would do that. But I have to wait and see what happens. In the meantime, we trudge along. So, on to my second topic. Now, this one's a lot lighter, thank God. Hold on. Me very thirsty today. So, my mom. Now, she died back in 1992. And to this day, I really, really miss her. I truly do. She never got a chance to even know I was pregnant, let alone meet my son, which is good and bad in one way. She would have adored him, and that, but she probably would have spoiled him rotten too. But she loved her grandchildren, all of them, and I really wish she could have met Robert. I think she would have really adored Robert, and I know Robert would have adored her. They seem to have a lot in common in ways with their interest in sports. But my mom and I were extremely close. I was the baby of the family, and she took a lot of interest in me, you might say. I think she actually, in her own way, I think she knew that I had something like Asperger's, but even then, she wouldn't have known what it was, but she would have known that something was off. Because she used to try to teach me the good and the bad about everybody. Why would someone do something? And things like that. We would discuss this stuff all the time. And I learned a lot from her from that. She was also my best friend in a way. Not in a way. She was my best friend. We had a way of knowing each other's thinking. And we shared a lot in common. But like I say, over the years, I have been dealing with my depression for a long, long time. And she knew that. So there were many nights where I couldn't sleep, or I'd go to sleep and wake up within a half hour, and then I would be up the rest of the night, and I'd have an anxiety attack. So almost every night, my poor mom had to sit there with me at the dining room table and play cards. Whether it was, um, we played all kinds of things, gin rummy, um, all kinds of things. And we did this until I was to the point where I was like, I think I'm ready for bed now. So then I'd go to sleep, and I'd be pretty well up, sleep the rest of the night. But this happened every night practically. She'd be sleeping, and I'd go in to wake her up because I just could not sleep. I don't know how many times my parents took me to the emergency room because they thought I was having a heart attack, but I was only having an anxiety attack. So I really do, think about that, thank her for that. And I kind of look down when my son has had problems falling asleep, and I end up being tired but staying awake just to help him fall asleep while playing cards. And I like to think she's looking down at me in heaven and smiling because I can do that and would do that. The other thing too is that, unfortunately, like I say, I could read her mind. I knew what was going on with her pretty well all the time, and I'd call her up, and just to to share a funny story. I was there almost all the time, practically, even after I moved out and got married. But this one day, this one very, very sad day, I woke up in the morning, and my husband at the time was working nights. So I had told him that when he woke up, come to my mom's place, which really wasn't that far away, for dinner because I was going to spend the day with my mom. Because I just had this feeling I had to be there. Didn't know why. I knew I had to be there. So that's what I did. And I got there, and my mom and I had a great day, and we played cards, and I made dinner, and he joined us, and he stayed around until he had to go to work, and then he went to work, and I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go home, so we ended up playing cards again. And finally, about midnight, I figured, I'm going to have to go home. Didn't want to, like I said. There was just a sudden urge. I had to be there. So I reluctantly went home. Well, hold on. The next morning, I woke up and my husband was sleeping. And I was walking across my living room floor, and I suddenly stopped dead in my tracks because I could see my mom in her home lying on the floor in the dining room. And I knew that something was wrong. Very, very wrong. So I went to phone my mom, and I got a busy signal. And again, that doesn't usually happen. She had call waiting. And I could not get through. So I phoned my neighbor, and she didn't know what to tell me because didn't want me the one to tell me anything about this. And then I got a beep on my phone, and it's my brother, who then announced to me that my mother was dead. She had been found in the dining room on the floor, not breathing. And they had called an ambulance and all that. Tried to revive her, but it didn't. It was too late. Now, here's the ironic thing about all of this, is that my sister-in-law had gone over to the house to visit with mom and had taken her out for one of her favorite kinds of day trips around the area of the countryside, stopping at some fresh fruit markets and that sort of thing. And it was her favorite thing to do with them. So they did that with her. And it was about lunchtime, I guess. They were after lunch. And she dropped mom off at the house, at her home, and had to go pick up somebody. And when she came back, 20 minutes later, that's when she found mom. My other brother, the day before that happened, even before that, had also had a feeling that he needed to go by and see mom. and that. But when she died, my whole life disappeared. Thank God I was married. I don't think I would have survived without my ex-husband, Victor. I wouldn't have. There's no way. I was devastated, but I got through it. Um, I think that's probably when I hit the low point with God, with that one and that. But like I say, I got through it. That was in '92. To this day, it still bothers me that she died. Obviously, my life has been totally different. I don't have the same love and passion for Christmas like I used to have. I don't have the same love and passion for figure skating like I used to have. Those are the two things that I really shared a lot of memories with my mom, and it was hard. So anybody who has had someone dying in this last while because of the coronavirus, I send my thoughts and prayers to you because I know it's not easy to get over somebody who is lost to you, especially under those kind of terms and that. And but like I say, I have a lot of really tremendously fond memories of my mom and the things that she would do for me and my family. I mean, she was great. I loved her. And so, but that was my mom. Now, years later, I'm able to handle it a lot better. Although I still every now and then have my days where I really do miss her, and that's not surprising because it's your mom and she died, and I was very close. But I look down. Actually, I know she's looking down at me now, and is very proud of me. And someday she will meet me again and meet my sons someday in long, 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 long future. He's got a long line to go, but I know someday that'll happen, and then when she'll meet him in person. But in the meantime, she's watching down on us and smiling and sending us her good thoughts. Anyway, that's my mom. Now, that takes us to our topic number 3. Now, I'm gonna have a couple of little mini segments, you might say, in this show, and one of them is called "Tales on My Scooter." Like I said, I have a 4-wheel scooter, and I've had it for about 4.5 years. In this time, I have run into so many things that I never ever thought about before, and some are good, but some are just insane. Take for instance, now if you're driving down the sidewalk, now my scooter unfortunately does not have any kind of suspension really too much. I have a little bit, but not a lot, and so I feel every bump on the sidewalk. And in the wintertime, you feel every bump in the snowbank. If you're driving along the sidewalk and it's like hard and icy, picture that on a scooter. I'm bouncing all over the place. I swear I need a seatbelt to hold me in. And you can hear me going through these really bumpy areas because I'll go every now and then. I'll yell, "Yippee ki coyote!" Yeah, because it's hilarious and bouncy and sometimes it can hurt because sometimes when you land, it's not always the best. Um, but it Now it really bothers me in the wintertime because they do not plow the city's sidewalks like they should. So when you go out, they say, well, go out and do things. I can't. Some days it's almost impossible to get through the stuff. And now this year obviously was okay. We didn't really have too many problems. I had a few, but not that many. Most of my problems this year was just the bouncing around a lot. Um, but last year, oh boy, with all of the snow that we had, it made my life really, really difficult. I found myself driving on the roads more than the sidewalks, which is okay if you're on a side street and it's not busy. But when you have to go down Oxford Street, it can be a little scary. And I'll be driving along and I'll have people point to the sidewalk or honk their horn at me. And all I can think of is, well, do you see anywhere I can drive over there? It's like, if but it's no. So I'm out here on the street. Like, I don't want to be out there any more than you want me here. So, but that's how what I have to do. And a few times I would get every now and then I would get stuck, and you try to get out of it. Well, people, it's amazing. Okay, we have people in the city actually are for the most part very helpful, and suddenly someone, a lot of times someone will show up out of nowhere, perhaps, and help me out of my area that I'm stuck on. It's really nice though when they have cute guys doing that because, well, nothing harmful there. you know, I enjoy that. It's a great way to meet guys. But at the same time, I don't really like being stuck. So okay. But again, with the sidewalks, now we've had every time we do construction on the sidewalks, and you have to try to get through that. It's really difficult. Sometimes almost impossible. And so I have a lot of difficulties with that. They really do need to do some more work on that. I mean, when you're going down the sidewalk and suddenly the sidewalk is gone because of construction and there's nowhere to turn, you either have to somehow manage to get onto the dirt part of the sidewalk, which can be very difficult, or go back and around. And you can't always do that too well. So I wish that they would, and then when they put it back together again, a lot of times it's not the best. They don't have it properly leveled. They don't care. As long as it's covered and covered over, if that's where they're concerned, that's fine. It's not if you're on a scooter and you're trying to drive through those things very safely. And not even scooters. I mean, as people with walkers have the same problem when they hit this area. It makes it that much harder to get around, and it's hard enough that we don't need these people doing it. Or they will block the sidewalks with pie cones or the cones, whatever, on the side of the road. They'll park them in the middle of the street, and you got to try to drive around that. Or they'll put the fencing up halfway across the sidewalk. So now you kind of drive half on the sidewalk and half on the road or a grassy area, which you really can't do very well. So you got to kind of go around it. And there are so many obstacles. It just doesn't make it safe at times. So hopefully the city and the people who do the construction, I really wish they would learn that sometimes we need a sidewalk more than you do to plow it up to drive around safely. And but anyhow, but that's my show. I had a good time with it this time, and I didn't actually lose my train of thought for once. That's good. So anyhow, but I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel because sort of thing. And if you have any kind of comments as to my talking, to what I'm saying, any comments, any the things that you've run into with with your scooters or whatever, I'd love to hear your stories. And until next week, stay safe. I can't talk there all of a sudden. Stay safe, whatever. You know what I mean. Stay safe, smile, and wash your hands.